that the biggest night of boxing this year has come to a close, I figured I'd give you guys my opinion and thoughts on what transpired in the fight between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin. Now, before I get into what happened, I want to talk about my thoughts before the fight happened. First of all, from the way things were going for the past couple years, I thought this fight would never get made. Once the fight was announced and signed, I was still skeptical because anything could happen up until the first bell rings. I, like many others, felt that Canelo was avoiding Golovkin, but Golden Boy had followed through with what they said would happen, and that would be in a few fights the fight would happen, and tonight it happened. I felt the fight was going to be 50-50, but Canelo had faced the better opposition in his career. So, he could have been given a slight edge. Both fighters had some solid names on their resume, but there were some names that were past their prime. But Floyd Mayweather being the biggest name out of anyone the two fighters have faced, on Canelo's resume, of course. So I figured that experience would definitely come in to benefit Canelo in the fight. Now, getting into the fight, the early rounds definitely went Canelo's way. But around the third round, Golovkin started to pick up the pace. And I'd say he did pretty well for quite a few rounds. The stats showed that he landed a lot more punches, but a lot of those punches were jabs, and those in the boxing community know that jabs really don't mean shit unless they produce a knockdown. It was pretty close throughout the fight, though. I felt the last rounds went Canelo's way, and I know I'll probably catch some shit for this because everyone has a fucking opinion on the scorecards. But by the time the final bell rang, I had Canelo up by 2 rounds. And, like I said, the jabs don't mean shit in boxing unless they produce a knockdown. But the way I scored the fight was like how the announcer said, who would you rather be at the end of each round? And I would have rather been Canelo at the end of most of those rounds. Am I disappointed with the draw result, though? Not at all. I figured it would happen the way they were reading the scorecards. Do I agree with the cards? Well, the only card I don't agree with was Canelo's card. 118 to 110 was really fucking ridiculous. The fight was definitely a lot closer than that. I'm happy with the draw, but that scorecard was just outrageous. But going back to the draw, what did anyone expect? It's the biggest fight in boxing, and there's a ton of money to be made in rematches, so it was going to happen, unless someone got knocked out. If these two guys face off again, it should be a lot bigger and a lot better, and that's my opinion on that.